Hello and welcome here, everyone. We are excited to dive even further into the College Deadlock playoffs. I'm very excited to see what goes down, who comes up, and who will unfortunately fall away as we have our elimination matches here continuing round number 1. My name is Orbital. With me is Navy Blue, who will be casting alongside me for this upcoming best of 3 elimination match. I'm very, very excited for it. Navy Blue, how you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you, Orbital.
Awesome, awesome. And tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in esports, what you do with Deadlock specifically. Give us a little rundown as we're heading into this matchup.
Well, I am the treasurer of Nebraska Esports, so I have a bit of bias there. I'll try to keep it in check for this match. And fun fact, I used to be the Deadlock game manager back when I think it was Deadlock Collegiate Series Season 0, I believe.
Ooh.
It's been a while. And the reason you probably haven't heard of me is I was not a very good game manager. I'll be honest. But I'm hoping to right my past wrongs and do a great job on this side of the desk.
Yeah, whether biased or unbiased, that's a great way to look at it because we need a little bias heading into this one. Nebraska Esports is biased and favored to take victory tonight over George Mason Patriots. Nebraska Esports came in as the 3rd seed from the regular season, with George Mason Patriots unfortunately kind of limping in as 6th. And I don't want to say limping in like a bad thing. It's just this is going to be a tough matchup. I think Nebraska Esports has a lot to show for themselves and to kind of take this home and move on into the upper bracket semifinals.
Indeed. What I'm really looking forward to is I'm hoping that our Deadlock team breaks a bit of a habit. They have come second in
Yeah, we are going to go ahead and head over to the rosters as we have gotten the Magic Man in the mic. And we are going to take a look at both sides. 6 members will be approaching us. Bringing out Nightman, Loch Nessie, as well as Kick O Kick. We got Pork the Pig, which is a hilarious name. Groovy, as well as Drisdalia. University of Nebraska Lincoln, bringing out Shromo, Cloud, Arctic, Neptic, Sometime, and Woody Seth. And kind of go back to what you were talking about here. University of Nebraska Lincoln, these guys are trying to kick a little bit of a habit, but they're names that a lot of people in the Deadlock scene do know quite well, at least in the collegiate side.
Indeed. One person that I'd like to highlight is Shromo, who, in addition to being an amazing player, is also a streamer. I like to watch his streams quite a bit. I find his content to be very engaging and very informational.
Hey, okay. Well, a little bit of a shout out there. We appreciate that one, but tonight it's all about the matchups. So, taking a look at this, I am quite curious, Navy. One of the things to me is when it comes to playoff, situations kind of change, right? And I do feel like the fundamental play style, especially considering the regular season was a best of 2, that's what you're looking at. You know, it's you win 2, sure, but it's not the end of the world if you lose 1 or anything like that. Looking at this one though, who are we hoping to see stand out for University of Nebraska? Where are we hoping to see them really ply their trade in the setup value?
I'm kind of looking forward to all of them equally, but I'm especially looking forward to Woody Seth's performance. They're one of the newer players on this lineup, and I really want to see them prove themselves and demonstrate that they have what it takes.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Hey, that's good. I'm excited then, because one of the big things for me is I love when new players are given the reins. I recently was casting in Valorant side, and in the collegiate side, it is very important. I think that you do give time for players to kind of expand and show their stuff, but also to prove themselves. They do need time to kind of step on up to the plate and bring their best step forward. We are heading into draft. Actually, the bracket here, taking a look at where these matchups are going to be going. As you can take a look right now, we are in the upper bracket round number 1. Northwood took victory over the side of Seattle University. Texas Aggies Maroon took it 2-0 over the CSU Rams, which is a very fun matchup. We are now on to the Nebraska Esports side, and then later on we'll be taking a look at the University of Toronto versus PSU Deadlock in the future. And keep in mind, all these teams on the upper bracket side do get a chance at redemption in the lower bracket.
Interesting, very exciting. I'm looking forward to this match because this is definitely going to set a bit of a pace for the rest of the match, or for the rest of the brackets. I know Nebraska Esports has previously been dominant, and it'll be interesting to see if Nebraska Esports is able to keep up this almost untouchable record.
Yeah, almost. I like that. I like that understanding. Very, very important here as we are headed into draft for game number 1. A lot of the adjustments can come through here, which will be very fun to take a look at. I think, again, when it comes to draft, you're always kind of looking at, number 1, are you going for, like, what style are you going for? And I feel like the first 3 picks generally solidify what composition you're going for or what you're trying to counter. We've seen teams kind of devolve before when they don't get the picks that they want. So for University of Nebraska Lincoln, they're first going to have to play, I think, without the Celeste in there, George Mason University immediately saying we don't want to deal with that.
Fair enough. Celeste has been terrorizing my ranked games, so I can understand wanting to ban it at this level of play too.
Yeah. I mean, Celeste is also just in general very, very strong and a beautiful support in terms of the front and back end loads, I feel like. So a little bit different focus on the other side. George Mason losing out on the Mirage a DPS that has kind of fallen to the wayside, but I do like that ability to have a good handle in some of these battles, so maybe not the traversing DPS that we know and love.
Indeed. I think a lot of that mobility can really come into play. I know that Nebraska Esports generally plays very together, tries to stay in communication as much as possible.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Now looking a little bit of silver coming out, so going straight for the action. Now, looking at this one, George Mason locking this in is, in my opinion, kind of crazy. I mean, it shows a little bit in your hand, but it's also, I think Silver has its options, but it's a very strong opener versus a little bit of a fencer on the other side. If you're going to take down a werewolf, you might as well bring a bit of Silver.
Exactly. It takes poise and perfection to take down a raw animalistic strength, and Apollo is just the champion for the job.
Yeah, I still don't know about it though, because this is very, again, very heavy loaded in terms of DPS value. You can see almost everyone now as we get even the priests to come on out here. This is just straight up damage side. A lot of the utilities being left off the table, which I do appreciate. Both teams saying we do got to focus on that DPS. We got to focus on getting our main pieces. What do you think of the draft so far?
I'm thinking that this is very... It reminds me of when I played Pokemon back in the day. Like, the only stat I care about changing is their HP number.
Right. Well, what are stat damages? What's a Thunder Wave? I don't know what you're talking about in here.
The only speed I care about is how quickly they faint.
Hopefully it's not a Chansey, but I do agree we are looking at that position. Following through, though, really locking in the rest as George Mason University grab the Wraith and then float on over to the Ivy. This is the first utility / support that we have seen locked in, and it's one that is still granting that mobility factor in there. George Mason are the first ones to divert away. For University of Nebraska-Lincoln, though, I think this is where they do the same. They are going to grab a frontliner in the Billy, really going for an all-in team fight composition.
Indeed. And I think that's what's going to give Ivy a lot of power in this match, especially considering that Ivy is the first support-like character coming in at number 5.
Yeah.
Currently, Nebraska is building a very death ball type comp, and so having the mobility to get your most important players to the action is going to be crucial.
Yeah, 100%. And we can even see that here as the University of Nebraska-Lincoln saying, okay, we got to start also focusing on the fact that they are going to bring a lot more CC chains as well, taking away the pick composition away from this. I actually really like that. Saying the Moan Krill can be a problem, but there's the Kelvin Dome not going to be sealed in. I feel like the Kelvin is the right call from George Mason, understanding that this could have been a double-edged sword, and a Holiday to come out here. I haven't seen a Holiday in a very long time, considering I don't know why you're dropping your glasses. You work with this team. What do you think is going on here?
Well, because and you know what? I know whose pick that is too. I'll leave it at that. But you know what? I think he's got it. I have faith. I believe.
Okay. Well, they have left with that Holiday a lot of the value on the table here. The Page, I would say, second in terms of how favorable we are looking at the utility and the supports in there. I think Page rounds a very nice second. So you leave the Lash and Page and Ivy, this 3-man wombo combo of bringing pain back, and now you're diving even further into the DPS. I don't understand this, because you had the Billy and I want to see more paired with it. I'm a little bit worried. What's this last factor going to be? It's a Dormant. Okay, hands off. You're going for a bit of chaos here, it feels like.
I do feel like we're going to see a bit of shenanigans. We're going to see a little tomfoolery.
Only a little. Only a little. I wonder what gave that away.
A tasteful amount.
All right. Last lock in here is the Warden. So Navy, taking a look at all of these as we're diving directly into the game. My question lends to you: do you like this composition out of Nebraska, or do you dislike it?
I'm wary, but I also think that there are secrets that Nebraska Esports is cooking up that I am simply not aware of.
Hmm.
I believe.
I like that very slight I believe, and I'm unsure if it's gonna yield results at the end of the day. But once again, for University of Nebraska coming in as the 3rd seed, they are sure to try and get their victory. We are off to the Big Apple. The streets run red with blood, or at least some bruises. Here on the side, we can see it is that Haze and I believe a little bit of that Doorman action off on the right side, unless I misread it. No, that's Apollo over there on the right. So double DPS
Yes.
versus the Ivy plus Lash. Interesting to watch.
Very interesting. I think that this lane with the Ivy and the Lash is going to be very slow. Lots of sustain. It's just a matter of if Haze and Apollo are able to crack through those defenses in time.
I can understand that. In the same vein, we're looking at the Billy over on the left side flank. Billy and Doorman can create a lot of chaos on a solo target. Can be very difficult to deal with as well. And I'm wondering how these stabs are going to work. I haven't really seen a whole lot of Apollo. It feels like a very niche pick at the end of the day. But I can understand the roaming factor. You go ahead and start breaking some of those crates, get some of those extra buffs.
Cloud is very talented as an Apollo player, so I do have I have a guarantee that we are going to see quite a bit of production out of him.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So far, a little Spirit handed in to the Banks for the Lash, going with a little bit more DPS route for George Mason. They are here understanding they're up against a tough opponent. Lane assignments aside, I am wondering how hard they're going to go in the paint with some of these duels and how hard they're willing to fight here. You can see they're very much lane focused, maybe not roaming out as much on the left side. In the mid, you can see the Silver doing one, but it hasn't really been, we're looking anywhere else. We are very focused on clearing the lanes, getting the damage down, and kind of resetting each time around. Ooh, okay. Could clear the minions. Damage taken, though, so for University of Nebraska going right back to the farming. All right, we're good, we're good.
I will confess that I did have some suspicions as to who would be picking what during draft phase, and I must say that all of my suspicions were wrong. I was completely incorrect with all of them.
You know what? That's 100% fair, and we'll see if it continues to be that same as why do you think this changes your idea of what Nebraska is going to hope for? But what I'm talking about is very different. Nightman is going to be completely nullified here in the low ground rundown, and the page is already gone. First blood for the side of Nebraska.
And only 4 minutes in, too. This is going to get interesting. But then again, that's what we predicted in draft, isn't it?
Yep. You're not wrong. I think it's very important to talk about the fact that for University of Nebraska, they're pushing the envelope of how quickly they want this game to kind of expire here. For George Mason, losing a page early and starting to allow, I want to say, that Billy to run a little bit more rampant, very, very dangerous in that ground, right? When a Billy gets started, it's very hard to stop them from snowballing.
Indeed. I think that's going to be a lot of the main theme with this, because having 5 DPS is basically saying, I'm confident that we're able to get this lead and have all this DPS pay off. Because if that DPS doesn't pay off, then that's like 5 DPS that aren't producing. You don't have support to back them up.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, it doesn't feel good. I mean, we've seen full DPS value before, which can be very, very fun, in my opinion. We've seen teams, fully set things out where they just go full overkill in the DPS department, but it is a double-edged sword. Either you rock the map or you don't, and it's a problem either way. So we'll see if it works out. Right now, we are seeing the Lash go down a little bit too fast, though, as George Mason lose out on their front line. I don't know how that happened. The run now was beautiful, though, from University of Nebraska, as these lanes are starting to tail and curb their way.
Currently, it's looking like the gamble in drafting is paying off. Yep. If Nebraska keeps this up, then this could be over in no time.
I fully agree with that one. I mean, you start things off strong, you're already a 3K Souls lead. It's not the most impressive out of this world, but it's a strong one at the end of the day. And it leads to a fact that for George Mason, you got to get control of these lanes a little bit faster, or at least stabilize them. You can see Kiko Kick and Drizdalia still losing HP on the far end as we get a little bit of a pause in here. Tech pause coming in. I do wonder what's going on. Maybe someone has, unfortunately, DC'd or so.
Oh, Cloud. Always up to no good.
Yeah.
This disc.
Cloud got too techy with it. I mean, with an Apollo as well, that'll be quite interesting. But let's take a look at the state of the game right now. No
Mhm.
Guardians down, obviously, but HP bars have leaned in University of Nebraska's way so far.
Mhm.
Do you think this is a good pace for Nebraska esports, or do you feel like they need to go faster?
I think it's definitely a risky pace right now. Yep. I think it's definitely a risky pace right now
Mm.
because, yep. Um, I honestly don't think they're going fast enough. Actually, scratch that. I think they're going fast enough at the moment. But the thing is,
Okay.
it's a tough pace. Having 5 DPS is really going to necessitate that you are dictating the pace of the match, that you are pushing your advantage. Because if those supports on the George Mason teams are able to control the pace of the game, then those DPS are not going to find enough of a foothold.
All right, well, let's see what they can do. Looks like we're good to go as Groovy Lemon is O-A-OK. Looks like for the
Excellent.
Patriots, they're doing okay. They're not overly worried about how that went down, but there's a shot. Woody
What?
sends a stream of bullets and then does the exact same to Pork the Pig, skewers them, and it's barbecue for this side of the town. That's a
Holy.
two-piece as Patriots lose to.
That was fantastic. Talking about pace, that was a sprint more than anything. Excellent work.
Very, very solid, and as you said, the pacing feels good. Quick revive, though, as the Silver is going to try their best. Pork Pig is right back on the battlefield, and we've seen Silvers take over as well, but they need a good start so far. And the Souls count, it's not great. The department is only 4.2 highest, or second highest for the team, but on the other side, you're looking at 5 to 5.3 to 5.5. The chase is on in the DPS game.
Indeed. Nebraska is certainly holding the lead right now, and it's giving their players a lot of freedom to roam around the map. You see Billy, Apollo, and uh, Hayes, that's what I'm thinking of, wandering around, getting all the souls from as far across the map as they are.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I love
oh
that
my.
portal straight into the ult, and unfortunately, it's a very easy escape, especially for a Wraith. However, you're in a very
Whoa.
tight spot and drawn back to the battle. Groovy is gone. Payment on the other side taken, though, as Lognesi is able to take one for their own. Cloud decided to dissipate and lose their life. Straight on the Guardian, though, goes Nebraska Esports.
The danger wasn't in the Baroness, it was outside it.
Yeah. And I'm sure it feels kind of good for them at the end of the day. Either way, well played. As that's going to be the first Guardian down, space being taken by the side of Nebraska Esports on that left side flank. Now giving way to maybe a mid push into a rotation to the right side. Options are available. Georgia Mason, the Patriots, now starting to wonder a little bit of what might occur.
Oh, the ambush?
Okay.
Is Lash going to be able to get out of this one?
I do not believe so. A hail of bullets drops you down nearly 600, down to 100 only. You are snapped and bent over backwards. Cloud with a great skewer grabs themselves a kill. Beautiful work there. George Mason really losing ground.
Yet another kill on the side of Nebraska. And Apollo Cloud makes it out like a bandit. Right back to work, getting as many souls as they can, pushing that advantage.
And I want to ask you, what exactly about an Apollo player makes them so tricky to deal with? Like, why do you think this is such a pick? Because it's not a normal one, I will say. We don't see Apollos
Yes.
very often.
It's come down to 3 words, Orbital. Master of movements. Being Apollo
Okay.
means you have to be quick, you have to be mobile. You need to get into position so that way when you are within range, you are able to deal as much damage as possible and get out once your cooldowns are up. Cloud has this down to a science. It's why he is such a menace in lane.
All right, I like it. I like it. The good ideas are abound here as we are ready to play it out as hard as possible. Quick run by Arctic. And we are seeing the number 3 seed look even better and better. Poor Pork the Pig currently held in the cage, and I think they're good to go, but they're immediately punted straight back in to that Guardian once more and burned for their troubles. It's a combination that any doorman knows and loves.
Outstanding. That is what you love to see. And looking at the names now and the characters associated with them, I'm happy to say that my assumptions were correct this time.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing who I thought they'd be playing.
100%. It feels good, and to know that you are 100% correct. I think I'm not saying that, it's bad or anything like that, but you know the team, right? You, as someone that is very closely associated, knows how good they can be, and to sit there and say, and to be able to sit there and just be, hey, that's what we're going to focus on. I like that you are correct and that we are seeing Nebraska play at their full strength.
Indeed. We're seeing a bit of earned gameplay here as Nebraska Esports escorts it over to yellow. I believe that's yellow. Nope, that's green. I was wrong. Anyway, but they're escorting it all the same.
Yep. And I like that call. Earn being held by the Billy, though, which is a little bit of a problem. Billy currently has his ult up if he wants to Dre, and it is going to be there, but a nice return allows him to be a little bit more free. That's not what you're focused on. It's the fight underneath the Guardian. Quick kill number 1. Pork the Pig is able to take the Guardian, but the damage is on the other side. Chang Gang brings the Lash even closer, but just Dahlia will pay the price. It's a blow underneath the Guardian plus more. Big win by Nebraska Esports.
With every kill comes an even greater advantage for the side of Nebraska Esports. This match is quickly getting out of hand. What will George Mason University do to keep things in their court?
I mean, I would assume try and buckle down, maybe get the team a little bit more coordinated here. Getting pushed around in this situation is not good, but now you've been fighting with a 1v1, and unfortunately the stats come through. Easy build up of damage, and you said the Apollo is good. That's another riposte in your face. No dice whatsoever as the final stand will come out here. Kiko King is trying his best, but the Warden is overrun. It's the same fight on the other side, though, as Nebraska Esports will hold their own in time. Quick revitalization, as you said. This Apollo said, no worries, I will reset my abilities. I will look even faster. Riposte out to safety. Kiko Kick has to run, but the Doorman has now found another target, as that's a great parry, and Loch Nessie is able to get one in the back end, but it's still Nebraska Esports that take a favorable fight overall.
I commend Loch Nessie for getting that kill, because if Arctic was able to get away with this, I don't think I would have let him live that down. I probably would have talked to him tomorrow about it.
100% fair.
Don't you know crime is illegal? You can't just steal your life like that.
Yeah. It's a spot and a half, and honestly, I could see you having a long chat with him as well. Difficult times ahead for them, but it worked out. And I think taking gambles like that is very, very important. Just like right now, as George Mason are about to lose Pork the Pig once more sometime on this Hayes pick 5. The Assassin able to run one down. Cloud does the same on Kiko Kick, as the Warden this time will not just take the damage, but also lose their life.
Another excellent game play from Nebraska Esports. Oh, and this is Apollo strikes, and that is nearly a kill. Cleans it up. Excellent work once again from Cloud.
And I love that catch.
Exactly. Excellent work. Nebraska Esports is just looking dominant this game. 77 to 57, 20k soul lead.
I really don't think it's going to stop anytime soon as well. University of Nebraska Lincoln, they've seen the top dogs, they've seen the upper seeds as well perform their duties, and they're looking to do the exact same. The Hotel, unfortunately stunned as you were headed into the ult, which means you are just gone. Another beautiful catch in this composition. You called it earlier, the 5 DPS. For University of Nebraska Lincoln, I think it's very important to say, they drafted a pick composition and they made it work. Even with the Billy, even with Neptic on Billy, which is normally a team fight comp, they're just picking people off one by one. It's beautiful. It's sensational work.
It is. This is truly beautiful to watch. This is the deadlock gameplay I signed up for. This is excellent.
Not the one to manage, though, right? Not the one to manage.
Oh, no. You know, no comment.
All right, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. Either way, they are flourishing, and I think you can still be proud to be part of the Nebraska squad right now because they are putting on such a clinic. 3 Guardians down, only 1 paid back in dividends. Walkers are up next, but you can even see George Mason understanding. And I feel like Woody just got away with some magic there, and Pork the Pig is like, yeah, that's, you know what, we'll give it to you, no big deal.
You know what, like, it's a bit of a BOGO. You get 1 off, you get 2 free. It's fine. You know what?
Yeah, that's how that works.
It's just good business. Mm-hmm.
surprising to say the least. Either way, teams are set and amped. For Nebraska Esports, you've gone ahead and bought up. You can see a lot of the players sitting at that 14 to 16K mark, miles ahead of the Patriots here. And it's only going to continue. Cloud and Sometime currently on a killing spree, and gonna do it once more as there's a dash. Quick stab through the heart. One more stab will do it. And you just charge up and look. The Wolf will be on out to play. But Sometime steals the kill. That's a little bit rude, I will say, from Sometime. But it's a kill at the end of the day.
That was a fight in a phone booth. That was some tight gameplay. Excellent work. Yet again, Cloud.
I mean, it's only going to continue. We give credit where credit is due, as we are unable to keep up with a lot of these catches and a lot of these ganks. I'm loving the space that they're taking. George Mason lose their Warden once more. Walker over on the left side will be terrorized by 2 or 3. Good lash grab, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as really you're just still locked into position. You can see here, you tried to slow down the momentum, but the enemy team is just there to run you down instead. Smoke bomb being used to give this Haze an opportunity to get to the back line. 71 in the chain, and there it is. Quick chase on the page. Cloud takes a freebie for themselves. You follow through onto Loch Nessie. Loch Nessie gets revenge of 1, but the Claw will keep Apollo close. Good out though. Flawless advance to safety as you dance across the board, and unable to follow is the Ivy, which gives space for Stromo to not only take the Walker, but Pork the Pig as well. George Mason lose 3 plus a Walker on the left, and it just feels like things are disastrous for George Mason here.
And it's hard to stop this momentum at this rate. Like, you don't have the resources to be able to stop this. Oh,
Unless they do.
wow. That pick goes down to a well-coordinated gank coming from George Mason University.
To be fair, that was a little bit of a gimme. As much as I hate to say that, it feels like there wasn't too much to take, and you were playing out in no man's land.
True.
At the same time, as you said, a kill is a kill, and you get some souls back. It's important to grasp every piece of the straws that are laid in front of you as much as possible.
You got to make your best with the cards you have, and right now, George Mason University will take any cards they can get their hands on.
Yeah. And I think at that point, the cards are just, I mean, what are the cards for this team? They have the Ivy, they have the Warden, but they just don't have, I feel like, the time to really group up. It feels like they're always in a difficult spot. You can even see the Anvil being used here by the Silver, but it's just, I mean, there's no one really around to help them out. Looks like you are going to try, though, as the Warden gets bullied and parried into oblivion. No dice for Kiko Kick.
That is, oh man, I'm so sorry for that kicker kick. I'm sure if I was in his shoes, I would be mauling.
I would be too. That was, you were trying to hide inside of the Haze of War, and it backfired. Very nice read by Nebraska Esports. And you're looking at a little bit more space. It feels like for Nebraska Esports, hey, you're applying a little bit for that mid boss. Give yourself a little bit of time, and you can just kind of take this home.
Yeah, I think this is just a matter of time. Nebraska Esports is looking for a win condition, something to take this dominant performance into a victory.
Well, they find it right now. That's going to be a door once more, caught inside of a rock in a hard place. Good door out to safety to give them a little bit of time alone. But for Nebraska Esports, you know that's the delay of the inevitable. You find one more on the back end. Stromo focus on the Walker. It will be taken. The lash back into a corner. Loch Nessie has to run for their life. But the chase is on. And who would you know? It is going to be a slice by Cloud, deleting the lash on the back end. You will lose Stromo after that push in the forefront, but on the right side battlefield, it's all about Nebraska Esports. They do not care what happened in mid. It's getting the kills and more. Poor Ivy dancing around the Walker, just saying, "Dad, please protect me." But the Walker is not long for this world either. 133,000 souls for Nebraska Esports, and Cloud is leading the charge. That will be all 3 Walkers gone.
And with that, things become even more dire for George Mason University. They're losing ground in the Cursed Apple. It's going to be harder and harder to find a foothold, anything to get back at Nebraska Esports.
I hate saying it. I don't see I don't see where they're coming back from this. There is a point of almost no return in a lot of games, right? And I'm just looking at George Mason. Unless they're given, you know, maybe 20 minutes to kind of scale up, I just don't really see the space where they're able to kind of contend with Nebraska esports output.
Yeah, it's a really tough position for George Mason University. I must confess, I also do not see a win condition for them. The only way that Nebraska esports could lose ground is by deliberately ceding it to Nebraska or to George Mason University. And judging by the absolutely devious gameplay coming out from all the Nebraska players, I don't think that'll be happening quite soon. Like, where is this doorman going? That's not where Earn goes.
That's not where Earn goes, but it's close enough, right? You are looking here. I love this call. It is just very, very important to play. Maybe a little bit more safe in that range. We are going to see the mid boss being taken out. It's a little bit out of range, but it's a very quick take, and you're going to use everything to secure. There are 0 Patriots close enough, but that's going to be a try and attempt by the Ivy and more. Loch Nessie tried to drop on in with an anvil drop. Did not work. You lose your life, but it was a decent attempt, we'll say, at the end of the day.
Indeed. You know, it's sort of those like hero plays where it's a 1 in a million chance that you have to attempt at this level.
Yeah. Give it your best shot and pray for the win.
Indeed. And it was a good shot from Lash, just not good enough, as Nebraska esports not only gets the Rejuvenator, but also the Earn. That's 2 more chances off the board as Nebraska esports circles like vultures.
And I think looking at Nebraska esports, they are going to take this time. You can see a nice little push happening on the right side. They're making sure all waves crash at the same time. And they're really not going to allow George Mason any sweep opportunity. What a catch by the Hayes, running straight into the ward, and then Kiko Kick cannot stop this assassin. As the police box will fall, and Warden goes back to the base.
Yeah, do not blink, folks, because if you do, you might miss another kill happening on the board.
Yeah, I mean, this is farming at best. 169 coming in for Nebraska esports. Mini Guardians will be taken down. The Shrines are available. And I feel like Nebraska esports do not have a care in the world. Team White, as George Mason University all fall, and will watch their base tumble as well.
Yep. This is a bit of a victory lap for it, isn't it?
Yeah. Feels a little bit good for them, and I think a well-earned victory. You know, from start to finish, it was find after find after find. George Mason, though, gifted one last opportunity. Everyone off of death timers. Ultimates are available for 3. Will they see it? Nebraska, University of Nebraska. They're going to fight. Cloud immediately deletes 1. Kiko Kick can't even get the final stand off. And it's destruction beyond belief. George Mason University relegated to their own spawn. The Hidden King is now exposed and nearly vulnerable, as that's going to be a little bit of a grab and a chain. Gang, what a sweep coming in from Nectic. 4 drawn to battle. Another wipe as George Mason will be out, and University of Nebraska Lincoln take game 1.
Man. You know, I was a little concerned there. I don't know if we could show that level of destruction on stream.
Okay. Yeah, it's a rough one, but I do think from start to finish we give credit where credit is due. George Mason attempted to fight, but it did feel like Nebraska, they just had the right plays, and the play that you said to watch out for, 100% Cloud. Beautiful work on their part.
Extraordinary gameplay from Cloud. Excellent. Definitely gotta commend them later.
Yeah, I mean, this is from follow-through to follow-through, I didn't really see a problem with the gameplay. I mean, covered, what, 5 out of the 7 metrics available. Most player damage, you know, a kill streak of 12, most kills, second most objective damage. You can see here the entirety of Nebraska esports played their roles perfectly.
Indeed. It's hard to look at that and see options of where things could have been improved on the side of George Mason University, because on the one hand, you can point at things saying getting caught out or losing your ones. But on the other hand, you kind of have to give a little to get a little, right? when you're down that low, you have to put out some risky gameplay to try to even the odds. And the more risks that didn't go in George Mason's way, the worse things got.
Yeah, I do wonder how they're going to adjust for the coming matchup. We are going to go to a very short break, though, as right now, Nebraska Esports look tailored to move on to the winners semifinals. For the side of the Patriots, though, they have a chance to fight back. Composition-wise, maybe they just were a fraction of a hair off, or maybe they're able to kind of fix up their gameplay for Game 2 to take a little bit of a fight per fight. We'll see what they can do. We'll go to a short break. When we come back, more college deadlock on the horizon.
See you soon.
Sleeps with the stars for a 10. For the beast spread a feast when he's hungry. And God charges no man. He'll live as long as gold free and laugh at fools like you and me. Often sigh and wish that I were the old man of the mountain.
rhythm is sweet, and learn to do the crazy cruise. God, I'm happy the rhythm is sweet, and learn to do the crazy cruise.
Welcome back, everyone. Game number 2 on the horizon and hopefully ready for your viewing pleasure. Nebraska Esports came off with a roaring start with some very unique mains that came out to play and also stole MVP. Navy, we were discussing this. The Apollo looked too dang good. Whether in a pit comp, whether in a 1v1, it looked amazing.
The Apollo was pristine. If that is left on the board, I shudder to think of what could happen.
That's true. And what? I gotta ask, because you look at the composition, it didn't really feel like they were gonna synergize quite well in terms of building up a DPS. Normally you have a little bit more safety in there, normally you have something like a Page, a setup Mo and Curl or something when it comes to kind of like that assassin 1v1 or anything like that. How do you feel Nebraska did in building out Apollo or building out Cloud, because Cloud really did get help even though it was 5 DPS on the board?
I think it's mostly what happened is that Cloud was given the chance to move to where the kills are, locate. Like the DPS's job was to soften up and to make the others weak, either by lowering their health bars enough for Cloud to swoop in and take it, or by just weakening them in general. So that way, when Cloud eventually showed up, that assassination had no obstruction. And I think the reason why the entire team did really well is because they knew that they were confident in their 1v1s. All the players knew that they could find a player on the other team and take them reliably, which is why this sort of like mass assassination was able to succeed.
All right, I like that breakdown. That was very, and now that you mention it, it does kind of shine through in that factor. A lot of this did come from a lot of the movements, you know, after the laning phase came through, you could see the conglomerations always like, hey, if I spot someone, I'm going to go fight them. I'm going to go take them. Hey, Apollo, come this way, or, you know, Cloud, come this way, or that way. It was very, very impressive. And there was a point where after a while, it was just like, hey, Cloud, go that way. I know there's someone over there. Just go take him out, you know? And that is what you want a DPS to be able to do. After a while, it's just like, we will take kills. I like it. We are now swapping sides, though, as for Nebraska Esports, they're the ones now banning out the Celeste, saying, I don't want to deal with that one. It's a little bit surprising, though. I feel like a top team should have a good handle on Celeste if you want that type of victory. And there's the Apollo, though. It makes sense. Hey, I love this for the Patriots. You see it, you hate it. I don't want to deal with it.
Yep. You know what? If I knew that Apollo gameplay was a possibility, I would do everything in my power to get rid of it.
That's 100% fair. I would too. It's just, it's brutal. And now they grab the Mirage. Now, remember, this was banned out by the Patriots or by Nebraska Esports before on their game 1 side. So little bit of a shift in identification of where they want to focus, but still grabbing a very strong DPS to start. Now it's the Patriots' time, though, to grab the priest and the crossbow.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this. I can't say this for certain, but I imagine that Mirage might take a similar role as Apollo did last game, constantly moving around and getting the kills. And with that ult, the ability to go wherever you want, it's only going to make that a lot easier. Instead of having to walk over there and get to the kills, which, that's exhausting, you could just pop your ultimate, show up in blue or green lane, get a few kills, and then go back. It's great. Yeah. You know, it's like Uber Eats for kills.
Uber Eats kills, just without the massive amount of fees that go into it as well. You know, it's out of your own pocket. You worked hard for that money, and you'll use it as you wish. Looking at the Ivy buildup, though, George Mason are still kind of focused on that ability of having that CC, having that ability to stall out. The problem means now is that you are foregoing some of that DPS once more. Silver coming out for Nebraska Esports. Patriots are quickly losing a lot of the DPS value that they had back in game number 1.
Losing a lot of options here, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think one thing that George Mason University needs is a little more setup. They need to get as much utility in there as possible, so that way when there's a kill on the board, they can secure it with absolute certainty.
Okay. I like that idea. The Holiday coming in as that backup DPS style. I like that build in. First 3 rounded gives University of Nebraska-Lincoln a very strong setup for George Mason University. They're still wondering what they're going to bring the third. Now, if I remember correctly, it was a Moe and Krill ban out in the third, but it was also the likes of the Kelvin. So an idea being made as now the Kelvin is fully brought out, gives time for George Mason to stall if they need to with that Ice Stone.
Indeed. And I kind of just actually had an idea. We were talking about how Nebraska didn't have a ton of utility last game, but I kind of feel like Holiday is playing the role of utility with the bounce pad and the Spirit Lasso, because I don't know much about Holiday, but I do know that her other 2 abilities aren't the strongest. But I do know the bounce pad is great for mobility, and I do know that the Spirit Lasso is amazing for CC, and I think that's what Nebraska Esports is prioritizing.
Okay. I like that call out, that idea of, hey, you know, have that kind of extra value in the back. We are looking Pocket banned out this time as well. It feels like the Patriots have an understanding that the Pocket could be a huge detriment for them if they're not careful. Good ban out, maybe slowing down what Nebraska Esports were looking for. Final ban, though, once again, Moe and Krill. Let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun in there as well.
Get them out of here.
Yeah. We're
Moe
done.
and
We're
Krill.
done. Just don't want to
Yeah,
deal with
no
them.
Moe and Krill. No Moe.
I hate that I missed that one. Gosh dang it, that was good. That was really good. No Moe and Krill. That is the line that we will be using. And looking for this 4th pickup, George Mason. They're still lacking on the DPS. I think on the DPS train, they're very, very lacking here. So I do want to see a build up, and they're going to grab the haze. So, okay, taking a lot of pieces out of the Nebraska Esports page or playbook.
I will say, though, Nebraska Esports has a lot of pages in that playbook. It's like War and Peace. Mostly War. There's not a lot of peace in there.
Yeah, okay, that's also fair. I would agree with that one. Eyes out for what exactly they are going to play at the end of the day, and
Ooh, guys,
I like it. Okay, so still like the Pocket, in my opinion, having that sustainability factor with the ultimate. If you're able to get that HP swap off, you can sustain through in just about any assassin at the end of the day, but maybe not as much utility in the back of the bank there. So we'll see what they finally opt for. This pick 5 will be very fun to understand. I wonder if they are going to bring at least a little bit of CC into this, a little bit more extra. No, the Doorman. Okay, so well, that is CC. Doorman's good. Doorman's good.
More shenanigans. Can't wait.
It's never ending. Just the bullying, the annoyances, just
The
rude
Baroness
factors.
has more horrors to show you.
Oh yeah, but there it is. Okay, so Patriots are going to be looking at the Abrams. So this is a much heftier frontline buildup that is centered around this Haze and Priest to come out here. I am very curious if it will work. Very, very curious.
Yeah. And the Lash. I don't know if this is enough damage. Honestly. It might be. It kind of depends on how much mileage that Haze and Venator gets, because a Haze is going to be good for objective damage, and a Venator is going to be good for player damage, but that's just 2. Oh, right. Doorman and Sinclair on the same team. I'm scared. I'm scared, Orbital. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be nothing good.
You sounded very confused about that pickup, and now I'm worried that you've never seen this pickup overall. So that is a very funny reaction to have. We'll see if it works though. University of Nebraska and Lincoln locking in some more DPS, a little bit of CC in there, but George Mason bringing the frontal DPS overall. So we're gonna go down the line. Obviously, Nebraska Esports. We talked about the 5 DPS composition. I want to bring your eyes to the Patriots side. Navy
Yes.
Blue, do you like what they have built more than they did in game number 1, or do you think it's about the same, or maybe a little bit more difficult to pull off here?
I like it better than what they had in game 1, but I still don't know if it's enough.
Fair.
They did do what I think that needed to happen. There's a lot more setup here. Almost every single one of these characters has some ability to benefit their team. You got 4 characters who are more support based. I'm going to lump Abrams in there, mostly for the tank aspect and for that ultimate. And Hayes and Venator are going to be there to do damage. But again, it's going to be most only Hayes and Venator doing damage. I kind of wanted to see a 3v3, you know? Again, I don't think that's. I think what's going to end up happening is that George Mason's going to stall out, especially during team fights. They're going to be able to set things up, right? They're going to have players locked down, and they're going to make it difficult for Nebraska Esports to kill them. But George Mason isn't going to be able to kill Nebraska Esports. And then I think Nebraska Esports is just going to wear them down with sheer power. Because that's what Nebraska Esports has right now. That is a lot of power.
Yeah. You know what? I'll agree with you on that point. I think we did have one of the harder situations for the Patriots to overcome was the fact that they weren't able to kind of cut through some of these DPS values in the early stages. And CC is great. Do not get me wrong. CC is always great when it comes to like the Abrams, you know, the Grand Slam or anything like that. But when you're in a situation where you just don't have the early firepower, an opponent can run you over, an opponent can outscale you. Heading into game 2, though, as University of Nebraska already start with the freaking kill. First blood for Nightman off rip. That is wild.
Where is he? Yeah, it is. Wait, we're not even a minute in? I didn't even catch that. I thought we were like a few minutes in.
No.
I blinked.
What?
I shouldn't have blinked.
That is crazy to think about. Let's talk about this because we rarely see kills that early into a game, right? Because that can set you back so far in a match.
Oh, yeah.
One of the big things is getting the early souls rounding, get some of your extra ability bumps in there, right? Like you need to keep pace with the opposing team. I feel like when it comes to Deadlock, a big part of the game is you do not have to worry about, you know, getting kills all the time. It's more about getting those spirits, hitting those souls breakthroughs. When you lose out your life that quickly, that hurts.
It does. And I think even if it doesn't matter, because I do think it matters for gameplay wise, Nebraska Esports is already at a Souls advantage, but I think even more importantly, they're at a mental advantage. If you die not even a minute in, that already sets a bad precedent, and I think that it's going to take some serious mental fortitude to be able to push past this and continue to play optimally.
Well, you can already see that I feel like for the last, you were understanding. I made a mistake. I got to break through, and I got to fight back once more. It is going to be Cloud on the Sinclair falling to their backup carry here. But having that early kill will already start them off in a good state of mind. You can see the dance back. Doesn't want to get hit on that lash side. And we'll see if it works. A quick little pillar there from the Ivy as well. There's a very low DPS output, but here's a catch on the back end. It looks like for University of Nebraska Lincoln, they're the ones caught out in a bad spot. Doorman running for the hills for the moment just to try and stay a little bit safe.
Indeed. It's a lot of hijinks. I think Nebraska is going to be riding high almost assuredly in this match. And it's going to be a matter of if George Mason University is able to capitalize on their mistakes that they might make. Because I feel like pushing up that far was a little risky, let's be honest. It was a little risky. And it's up to Nebraska Esports either to play this well or George Mason University to capitalize on this. The opportunities they are given.
I 100% agree with you. We'll see if it can work for them. Nebraska Esports already putting themselves in a nice spot. You can see the Holiday roaming a little bit, but will it be enough of a Gardner to start getting kills to match pace with what we're going to see even more? We are seeing Hayes here hold their own Kiko kick on the Hayes as they're giving themselves a really nice setup here. This Hayes will try and be a big win. And keep in mind, Kiko Kick, I believe, coming in as a sub here in this series. Last minute substitution coming in for the side of the Patriots. So big shout out to Kiko Kick for stepping in at the last moment here and trying their best just as well. Oh, on the other side, great kill. Nightman getting taken out as Arctic takes victory.
That is quite some damage coming from the Sinclair bolts. I know Sinclair's a hard character to use, but I do have quite a bit of faith in Cloud. We saw his work on Apollo, and now we're going to see his work on Sinclair. The Magician will get it done.
Very impressive overall, and I can only imagine it's going to continue here as for University of Nebraska-Lincoln, they're setting themselves up. It's a lot slower pace. I do think the kills came in at about 6 minutes, 6.5 is where we really saw a brunt of them come through. But the fact that we actually saw Nebraska Esports get run out of their own laning phase, at least once, I'll be very curious to see if it happens once again. This Kelvin already causing a little bit of mayhem as well, slowing down some of the advances from the opponents.
I'm seeing some good things from George Mason University at the moment, specifically by Nightman, because Nightman is playing Gun Ivy, and I think that might be what we need to make this a 3v or 3 damage, 3 support comp that I was looking for. That evens out the numbers, and I think it gives me confidence in them.
That's fair. That's fair. If it gives you confidence, that's huge. Hopefully it brings a little bit more to the table as well. Nebraska Esports, they are slowly rolling their way into a gathering of all the crates, clearing up a lot of that jungle, making sure that they're set to go. And now maybe looking for a bit of a gank. You can take a look on the left side battlefield. That is going to be Cloud rounding their way in, jumping in for the battle. Is the damage going to come through? Nope, not just yet. Good back away by the Patriots.
Those bolts are dangerous. I think they're going to be absolutely dramatic by mid to late game. Like, entire halves of health bars being deleted in instants.
Might be what we see right away. Good catch, number 1. A little bit of a dance out of range here. As the chase is on in more ways than one. Patriots definitely firing back in more ways than one, which I highly appreciate. Nice little fly in. Love that call. Getting back to the lane as soon as possible. And keeping Georgia Mason very much set apart. No way for them to highly aggress.
That Mirage push was just another example of Nebraska Esports being very confident in giving George Mason University opportunities. But it's a matter of capitalizing on those opportunities because Nebraska Esports is not one to be caught out so easily.
I do wonder if they're going to start pushing the envelope a little bit. This is around the time that they started kind of tower diving, trying to jump those Guardians and see how much they could get away with, as we're seeing it right here. I think a parry came out and forced that Abrams low. But Pork the Pig is able to stay alive for just a moment at the very end. That could have been way worse for them. I think at the end of the day, another couple of picks puts Kick into the dumpster. So it might not be kills specifically in the hands for University of Nebraska-Lincoln. But it's a lot of time being given with the waves, with the creeps, and giving themselves victory that way.
Indeed. Currently, it looks like we're experiencing a bit of a lull in gameplay in terms of kills, and a lull means anything where there's not a kill every 90 seconds. So, I spoke too soon. I'm so sorry.
You willed it into existence. That is the most impressive caster blessing I've ever heard, I think, or curse, I should say.
I guess I am like. I hope I don't abuse this power.
It is very dangerous. Use it wisely, young Padawan. Another look as an option, and there it is. Even more kills on the table. Another pair to come out here as the Lady Geist is looking to turn the tables onto your face. Shromo ready to dance in their face. Like Nessie takes out Cloud, though, who got a little bit too big for the britches. But the chase down of the Abrams ain't gonna work as Shromo takes their life.
I think 1 in 3 parries actually parried anything, and there was a lot of parries in that fight. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny.
A lot of availability, and now I'm wondering what's going to happen because Nebraska Esports, like clockwork, take nearly 3 kills. They start looking at the lane advantages that they're going to get and maybe forcing down those Guardians.
I think. Oh, look at this. Holiday is rotating over, and so is. Oh, never mind. I was going to say, so is Mirage. I'm wondering if this Holiday is going to be ganking or just farming lane or farming jungle. I think this is a gank.
Oh, okay. Let's see if it is going to be one. A little bit of a dance. There it is. Neptic jumps right in as a Lycan curse rears its ugly head. And unfortunately, there is no silver stake. Well played. Coming in from the side of Neptic to take victory over that one.
Incredible work. Quite a dramatic tower dive there.
I wonder if it's going to be even more here. I mean, this is already looking like Nebraska Esports are just kind of pushing
Do they know?
the
They
envelope.
don't know.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
A little bit of a
Here's
jump
another-
backwards. Yeah, that was
Okay,
that was
I think
dangerous.
that-
That was very dangerous.
I was kind of sweating there for George Mason. I think that I kind of misinterpreted the map, and I thought that they were behind the lane.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense. I was curious what was going on, but at the same time, I think they're going to do just fine. Ice Stone being used, though, as the hut is only used for a moment. And it gives time for Loch Nessie to get the Guardian, so that is Guardian down, but you will lose lives on the other side. Neptic locks out Nightman on the far end. But here comes that
Ooh,
chase
some
even
coming
further. I
double.
love this opportunity. The Walker will get chased by Laser to your backside, but the Lash ult
He
will
gets
grab
the ult.
one, and you stun them out, slam to the back end.
100 health.
But you're able to dance away. Can you get the shots off? Very low at the
12.
end. Healing for a
Eight.
moment. Teammates here to save! What
No
an opportunity!
way.
Cloud, who is not around, says, I got you, bro.
That was incredible. The ability to have such confidence in your teammates that they would come to rescue you is impeccable. That is the sign of amazing work from the side of Nebraska.
I don't think anyone was really expecting that. That's an opportunity and a half right there. Huge props to the team, but my gosh, let's see if it goes even further. Quick laser coming out as another dome comes into play. They're going to try and lock down one, but the HP bars might not be in their favor. The Lightning Curse comes on out to swipe, and unfortunately, it's the Venador to walk a little bit further away. I don't know if the damage is enough, though, as the Lycan Curse runs away. Silver able to get back to safety. Really nice utilization of the ultimate to stay alive for the moment, but it gives time. That was another Guardian going down, plus an earn run. Huge win for Nebraska Esports here. Oh?
Oh,
Yep. Shot on the back foot. I was wondering what's going on. Huge meeting of the minds here on the right side battlefield. Everyone taking a little bit lower for their lines, and I don't think Loch Nessie likes that bend over backwards by sometime once more on the Mirage. And it feels like Nebraska Esports are cleaning up as an overextended George Mason Patriots try and finish off Neptic and Arctic. It ain't gonna work in their favor, though, as sometime just gets everything that they could ask for. Overextension upon overextension leads to a 9K Souls lead.
indeed. Looks like Calvin was left with a cold shoulder as he was left alone trying to survive against the rest of Nebraska Esports. Unfortunately, he got iced over and got sent back to base.
Very tough
I
spot.
feel
to
like
be
a
in.
finals commentator with all these puns. I apologize.
It's okay. Hey, you're having fun. That's all that matters, right? You're having fun. You're enjoying your time. That's what we care about here, okay?
Indeed.
That's what we care
Oh.
about. Yeah, that's a...
20 health?
I mean, they've
Wait.
done it before, let's be honest. Nebraska
This
Esports
is
have
true.
literally lived on 10 before.
These are the risks that we have been seeing coming out from Nebraska. Oh, ooh, ooh! I'm so sorry.
Maybe
was-
we gotta talk to you. Like, we gotta set you aside. We gotta talk about all these, you know, caster curses. Like, someone's gonna get mad at you after a while. I hope you know that.
I guess All right. Well, for my next trick, I'm gonna make this lash disappear. Shut-ta!
Hey, there it is! Nothing with a shot from downtown. Navy blue calls in a black and white scenario. Neptic runs over yet another. And it's Nebraska Esports to challenge the Patriots over on the left side, Walker, forcing them to pay the price.
I'm calling these in like airstrikes. Like, yeah, sometime take them out.
It's a rude station to be in, but for Nebraska Esports, it's a well-earned kind of respite here. They've now gotten back to that point, like they did in game number 1, where they can just kind of take over the battlefields, and it's about locking down George Mason and forcing George Mason to be on the defensive a little bit more. You can see the runaway onto Lognesi, who is chasing into a very awkward state, but I do wonder if Nebraska Esports are going to start looking at that mid-boss, looking to try and kind of close things out.
Indeed. This has been a lot faster of a game than last one, hasn't it?
I would say a little. I think we're on pace to be at about the same rate in there. That's about all I can see, though. I will be honest.
Excellent. I'm not entirely sure what George Mason's play here is. I feel like there should be an urn at some point. That's a good starting point, but that's a micro play in this grand scheme of things. I'm not quite sure what their plan for a macro play would be, to be honest. I'm definitely thinking there should be a lot more death balling, a lot more grouping up and just roaming about the map as a group, trying to get those kills. I think utilizing Kelvin's ice path as sort of like a mass transit system could be promising.
Alright. I can agree with that one at the end of the day. I appreciate that. We'll see if it does work, however, as we are currently in this state of the game where it's 3 Guardians versus 2. Time is kind of a wasting for Nebraska Esports as they're just waiting for the boons to come on up. Extra buffs always feel good at the end of the day. And it has been covered by Nebraska most times, often than not. And they've gotten a lot of value out of them.
Indeed. It does look like Nebraska Esports is grouping up as you see them over on the green/blue side of the map. I wonder if they're plotting stuff. They're plotting Earn. That's what they're over there for. I think Nebraska Esports recognized that Earn was George Mason's game, and they wanted to move there in preparation.
I mean, it's a very easy call here as the Lycan Curse comes out once more. It will be Neptic to try and run over the opponent, force them away a little bit further, and chase them all the way back to spawn. Easy ult call. No major kills, but the Urn is being run as he called earlier on. Right now we're watching Groovy Lemon try and defend this Walker as well, but as you called out, it will be an Urn trace. 2 meeting of the mines. The Abram and the Haze will cut off the Doorman here.
Maybe?
I mean, kick okay.
That would be the play here, but I hope Arctic doesn't get away with this.
No. Well, here's the thing. It's a diversion. Take a look on the right side of the battlefield. That's a Walker down. Cloud is able to get a solo kill onto Groovy Lemon and knock away the Walker as well, which diverts a lot of attention and means Nebraska Esports are now able to funnel in 3 more into this Urn call-out, and it's everything just kind of falling their way. The bait and trap was sprung successfully as Nebraska Esports claim the Urn and take lives as well. No one can stand in their way as George Mason University lose 1, lose 2, lose 3, and will lose a possible 4th. Almost everyone on their side is either dead or retreating.
Another X. Oh no. I didn't call this one into this time, I promise. I don't think Kelvin's making it.
Nope.
That's quite the ragdoll.
It hurts to see a delayed team finish as in comes the lash from top down. Lognesi trying to save that Walker. And it looks like for Nebraska Esports, they will pay the price at the end. Another refreshed ult coming out here. Well timed, or actually it was a Sinclair doubled. I mean, that hurts, and the bell to end it. Arctic takes the finish at the end. Yes, you lost Stromo and Woody, but honestly, it's 2 deaths for a majority share of the map. Big win by Nebraska Esports.
Indeed. I will say, using Doorman ult on Abrams is so mean. Abrams does not have the mobility to get out. That's like, oh, you can't do that to him.
I mean, it
For
is
shame.
tough. It is tough. We'll see if they can continue, though, as we're looking a little bit more forward into this game. And I'm curious because Nebraska Esports, you called it earlier. I didn't really respect it, which I apologize for, Navy. It does feel like they're on faster track to finish off this game, right? It really does feel like, yes, the early start, 7.5 minutes makes sense, but it does feel like they are pushing ever faster. That's going to be a great lockdown, but the Lycan Curse is used to escape once more. Great ult from the Silver. It's never ending, I feel, for Neptic, who this time around is going to get caught. It was a 4-man chase down. You can escape 4 hunters sometimes. Now you're on the wrong side of the battlefield, though. George Mason getting tethered in and forced to escape the hotel once more. That is a brutal showing as the cost is paid for the rundown. And I don't think Kiko Kick is getting out of this one.
I think we're starting to see some of the cost disparity when it comes to picking off isolated targets.
Yep.
When George Mason gets a pick, it's usually a full team endeavor. Lots of very powerful abilities and even ults coming out to make sure that happens. Whoa, that's great, Portal. But for when Nebraska Esports, it usually takes 2 or even just 1 player to take an isolated target and send them back to base. Like this.
Yeah.
Soon that Venator will be heading back to base in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
I was a bit late.
Yeah. No, you were a bit early, but I think the chase down is still going to yield your correct assumption. Fail to the back end to slow them down. Good heals come out from the other side, but it's just too much damage to kind of deal with at the end of the day. Groovy Lemon dropping on down below the battlefield. Maybe they were able to escape. It feels like Nebraska Esports are willing to hard chase because they found another juicier target. It was Nightman instead that they were going to run. There's the finisher. You called it out, Navy. Great kill on the Groovy Lemon. And remember, all the walkers are down. Multiple members are down. Nebraska Esports say, this is the freest mid-boss that I think we've ever seen.
I think this is. It's got their name on it. Yeah. And, you know, back in my day.
Back in my day. Wild call right there. Okay.
Nebraska Esports had a bit of a reputation for not being good at confirming rejuvenators. It was a bit of a recurring habit, but I'm glad to see that we've kicked it since then.
Very much so. No problems abound. All 3 in their pocket, and now they can chase even further. Only the mini Guardians stand in their way.
This Lash is in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pick comp, right? This Doorman has gotten such an accelerated usage in so many different ways. That's another cast thrown to your backside. And it feels like George Mason, they're never going to have an open 6v6. It's just death upon death upon death upon death. They will lose the Abrams as well, who tries to slam down on the back end, but Nebraska Esports were more than ready for it. 21 minutes. They are looking to close out this game.
Indeed. Excellent work coming from Nebraska. And it's time to push it in. Victory is close. All you have to do is close your hand and seize it.
23.5 minutes was what the call was last time. They have 2 minutes that they want to beat their record from before. University of Nebraska, they take 1 shrine. Will the next happen? Quick Lash ultimate, though. Death Slam being used. Thrown straight into the base. And it will be a problem to be had, though, but no major damage to come out. Woody will be burned of that Reju bead. All Reju beads being utilized here. And a breakout in turn. It's a quick shattering of the HP bars, as that will be Drasdalia falling number 1. The Ice Dome will keep the collective, but it also locks George Mason into the battlefield. I don't know if they like that. Sometimes runs kick into the spawn. And it's destruction in more ways than one. George Mason losing almost all their lives but 3. University of Nebraska locking 1 away inside the hotel. And the final shrine will fall.
Doorman cleaning up everybody like it's just classic room service. This is going to be brutal.
Half of the Archmother is annihilated. Your safety mechanism is gone. You will be vulnerable but I don't think Nebraska Esports can finish. They're going to spend their souls and back away as the Patriots gather for one last defense.
Now is the final time to rally. And while victory is unlikely, it is not gone just yet. There is a universe in which George Mason University takes this back. The main question is it this one?
Let's see if they can
In terms of strategy, I will admit that George Mason is looking quite low, or not a lot of options lie available to them. You could get some picks, but I don't know if that anyone would be so isolated for long enough.
That's fair.
Speaking of isolated, this
Yep.
haze is gone.
It's just never ending. It really feels like this is going to be that last rush. They do not have one of their primary DPS available, as that's going to be a disconnect by accident. It looks like tech pause at the tail end of this game.
Ooh.
Oh,
So,
that
looks like
hurts.
someone accidentally yanked a cord.
Yeah. A little bit of a rough spot.
The
I
magician disappears.
I mean, let's be honest, though. This is amazing from Nebraska Esports. I think you talked about them before, and watching how they play, I think this is a very important aspect of just, this is what you want to see out of a playoff team, right? This
yeah.
early start to the matchups, early into the playoffs, you want to see them in top form.
And it's looking very, very promising right now. And I won't say that. The good news is, like, if we keep this pace up, a victory will be assured in no time.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for them as well, it's very important that, you know, you do close it out in good standing. You don't want to slip up here. You don't want to make any mistakes. And granted, I don't think they will. You are hoping that, of course, Cloud comes back. And I gotta ask. I think this game around, Cloud has been a little bit more quiet on the Sinclair. Obviously, still getting kills here and there, but it's been really the doorman plays at the end. If we were to give an MVP though, at least for the side of Nebraska, because again, the game's not over, but they are very close to the end, and they might be able to finish it off. Do you think it would be earned by Cloud here for the series?
I'm going to have to go with, yeah, I do think Cloud would earn the MVP here. And for the main reason that Cloud has been doing a lot more than just damage in this match. Because having the Sinclair and having the versatility to grab lots of ults and a lot of support ults, because again, George Mason's team is a lot of very powerful support ults. Like, you got Dome, you got Fly, you got I don't know what Abrams' ult is called, but the Big Slam. That's a good example. A lot of powerful ults to grab. And I think Cloud has been doing a really good job of being able to utilize all these resources that the George Mason comp has afforded him.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing a lot with it, and that's why I believe he deserves MVP.
All right, well, I like it. Right now, we have gotten word that there has been a little bit of a technical issue on Cloud's end, so we will most likely send to a short break. Hopefully, they are able to tailor it and get it finished up, but either way, we'll see how it goes. Don't go anywhere. The end of this matchup will be coming very shortly, at least for game number 2. Let's see if they can bounce back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
And off we go. This is the finish that you wanted. Thank you very much for joining us. We had a very, very short pause, and you can see Cloud had a blue screen, but that does not stop where the game is currently at. Quick slam with the death slam, throws two more backwards, and that might actually be a huge dub. University of Nebraska Lincoln get thrown into the slammer right away. Off that pause, it feels like George Mason were ready for it. They will try their best to fight back. However, there's a lot of weight against them as well. Woody Seth saying I can DPS just as well, but that's 3 gone in the blink of an eye. Nebraska Esports off the pause, surprise in so many ways as the Patriots fight for their freedom here in game 2.
I spoke too soon. I truly did not expect this to be happening. There's no way they get... No way. I spoke too soon. This is a huge opportunity for George Mason University to claw back their way into this game. They have a long way to crawl, but that is certainly a good way to get your foot in the door. I think that's a walker, 100%.
Yeah, that was chaotic to say the least, but so much space being taken. Look, Nessie even able to find Woody once more. No, not like this. They're going to try and hold it back. What a catch by Sinclair. Can you find any other bodies, though? It's a little bit too hard. Nebraska Esports, they still have members lost. The Patriots, there they go. Sometimes he's able to find a mark. This Mirage is finally getting some value. Quick tornado forward. The chase is on. Good flyby out. Keeping your DPS healthy and safe.
Is this the same team? This is extraordinary gameplay from George Mason. I'm rejuvenated. I'm awake fully. This is incredible. Ooh, I'm speechless. I don't know what's gonna happen next now.
I mean, we can't talk about the fact that this isn't over, right? Like, obviously, Nebraska Esports is still very strong, as we can see here once more. They're going to lock away one more into the bucket, even though it was a valiant fight at the end, though. George Mason University have now lost 2 members, and it feels like Nebraska Esports say, we might have stumbled close to the end, but we will not be delayed of our victory. Another push coming in as the defenders are coming out of the base. Quick snipes coming in from the likes of Neptic, who looking a much stronger in this grave. Cloud will lock away Groovy Lemon. University of Nebraska Lincoln saying, give us the kills, give us the glory, give us our victory here in the college deadlock playoffs, as they will move on to the semifinals in a 2-0 victory.
Good times. Fun times.
That was an exhilarating finish. That was a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, I agree. We came out of this and we kind of assumed that, hey, you know, George Mason, they don't really have the souls, they don't have the weaponry, they don't have the inventory, and they don't have a way back out. And it does feel during that pause, they kind of gathered themselves and they said, hey, if we're going to lose, we're going to lose in a big way, and we're going to slam it. And they did. Huge win by them, but at the end of the day, it was still the overall game that mattered more. You can see here for the Hidden Kings, University of Nebraska Lincoln, Cloud once again snagging MVP.
Well, I'm glad to say I predicted that one.
Yeah, I mean, same. That's what we expected. Secondary behind, obviously, Stromo on the Lady Geist. Most kills in the game. 42,000 player damage as well. Beautiful work in all aspects. And I think for University of Nebraska Lincoln, I think they can be very, very proud of the show that they put on here today. Eyes out, though. Navy Blue, question for you. In your opinion, were you impressed by how Nebraska Esports played tonight?
I was impressed with the first game, and the second game was still impressive to look at, but I felt like there was a few more flaws, a few more chinks in the armor that were exploited at some points, and I worry that these gaps will not be fixed in time for finals. I'm quite certain, though, that all of these will be rectified in due time, because I believe in Nebraska Esports and the ability that they have to close out this tournament.
Okay, well, I can sit there and agree with you just as well. My eyes are looking forward, as it seems that all the top seeds are so far making their way here through the college deadlock playoffs. Now remember, for George Mason University, they will have a second chance in the lower bracket to see if they can pull things off, but at the current moment, they are locked out of the upper bracket. That'll also be the end of the night here today for the broadcast side of things. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. My name is Orbital. With me has been Navy Blue. We had an amazing array of production on the back end of this table. We had Ice Fire Right on the production side. I believe we had Casual Knight on the observation. So big shout out to those two for making this amazing. Shout out to all the viewers that are tuning in, and make sure to stay tuned to all the socials to see when the next matches will be played. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you around.